Hey guys, Station X here, and today we're going to be taking a look at my entire Nintendo Switch collection. And I'm going to be honest, I had to re-record this a couple times because I just was struggling to find the right way to record this. I'm just going to be doing it a little differently this time by just kind of going over every single game rather than just kind of doing a quick overview and talking about some games here and there. But of course, I do have quite a bit of Nintendo Switch games, and I can't fit every single one on this table on camera at once, so I'm just going to do them in sections. But without taking up too much time, I'm just going to look at every game and just give a little my thoughts and opinions on it, just a tad bit. But starting off the list, we have 1-2 Switch. This one didn't do too well, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of it. This was one of the day one Switch games that came out, and wasn't the hugest fan of this game. And you also have Among Us Crewmate Edition. Of course, I have made a video on the other collector's editions of this game, so if you haven't seen those, check them out. But this is a real fun game that I play all the time on a lot of different systems, but the Switch mostly. We have Angry Video Game Nerd 1 and 2 Deluxe. Of course, again, if you've seen my videos before, you've seen that I've done a video on this collector's edition, and it is just a fantastic game from one of my favorite YouTubers. And so I would highly suggest you check out that video as well. And here we have Animal Crossing New Horizons. I gave this one the good old college try, but it just wasn't for me. You know, like I was gonna buy it regardless because it's a first-party title, and so you know I try to collect for every single system like their first-party games. But this one I gave it a try. It's just not my favorite. Here we have ARMS. Now, I actually thought ARMS was pretty interesting. Of course, this copy is beat up. I couldn't find a better looking one. But while this thing did not do commercially well, I think this is a good game. I didn't think it was horrible. I just don't think it got as much love that a lot of other games that are specifically Splatoon got. But I thought it was a very interesting and unique fighting game. Here I'm going to group these three together. The Assassin's Creed games, Ezio Collection, Assassin's Creed 3, and Assassin's Creed 4 and Rogue together. These are basically the entirety of the classic Assassin's Creed games with the exception of the first one, which I'd love to see them port on the Switch, or at least port on the newer systems. But really good game, specifically the Ezio Collection with its 3-in-1 here. If you have never played Assassin's Creed game before, I would highly suggest picking these up. Next up, we have the Atari 50th Anniversary Collection or Celebration. I've already talked about this in my recent video game pickups, and not gonna really open it just because it's Atari. I have these games already, but I thought the cover was really nice, and I thought like it'd be kind of cool to have it. Besides, they also have already released, I think, at least 2 to 3 collections or compilations of Atari with their Atari volumes. Classic volumes collections, volume 1, 2, and 3. And here is Baba Is You. This is part of my long list of games that I thought the cover was really cool, thought it was really unique looking, and I bought it just to have it, but that's it for that. Next up, we have the Bayonetta series. Now, I of course again recently done a video on these, so if you haven't checked out that collector's edition video, please, I highly suggest you see it. But these are a fantastic set of games for Bayonetta. Here we have the BioShock collection. I own a lot of collections, like a lot of game collections on the Switch, just because obviously I like to have as many games playable on there as possible, and this is no exception. Of course, you have the first 2 BioShock games, and plus BioShock Infinite, which might be a little bit of an unpopular opinion, but I think BioShock Infinite, my favorite. I know it's not everyone's favorite. Most people either suggest either the first or second one, but I think Infinite just does it a little bit more for me. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. When I bought this, a lot of the different characters here from their different shows or games and whatever, I just never heard of. And this is actually before I even played Persona, so this was just kind of like a nice bonus later on when I actually did play Persona. But I solely got it because I was a big fan of Ruby at the time, and so I saw Ruby characters on here, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm in it. So there we go. And then of course I now have played Persona 4. Seeing these guys on there is also really cool. It's a basic fighting game, which it's awesome. And if you haven't played it, I highly suggest checking it out. We have Cadence of Hyrule. I just really like collecting for Zelda, and this I thought looked very interesting and unique. And I thought, you know, hey, we got basically a rhythm game with Hyrule characters in it. Why not? And it's not like it's definitely not like your average rhythm game. It's a pretty unique rhythm game. But been into rhythm games lately. And here we have Capcom Fighting Collection. I own most of the games on in this cartridge already, so that's why I haven't really opened this one up. Like I said, there's a lot of games I'll just own for the Switch just because I like the Switch and I like having a version of it on there, and eventually I'll probably open it up and play it. But because I already have a lot of the games on here, in particular Street Fighter, which is like the main game you would want to play on here. Other than, I mean, they've also, like I said, brought back a lot of games that don't really get too much attention, so for that reason I think people should buy it. I've already covered this on a previous video. We have Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Of course, I bought the Switch version before I bought the Wii U version, and I bought it simply because I just love this little guy in Mario Odyssey, and this one in fact includes of course it's based on Mario Odyssey, which is a very nice touch. But the sole reason why I bought the Switch version when I first saw it was because of Mario Odyssey, so I think it's a good game and you should check it out. We have Catherine Full Body. I loved the original when it first came out, and seeing that it got a Switch port and not it just never came out on Xbox for whatever reason, even though the original, like, it came out on 360 and PS3, I just thought that was kind of funny. But hey, a Switch port, this game is not like a very highly demanding game, so having this on the Switch and looking super good, super clean is just very nice. And also it comes with a little keychain right here, which is very cool indeed. But yeah, I just thought, like, if I'm always a big fan of Atlas games. If you haven't tried this out, I highly suggest checking it out. And here we also have Clubhouse Games. I have one of the games on the DS, and this one's the 51 Worldwide Classics. Basically, this has every kind of different board game or card game or whatever you could think of from all throughout the world internationally. There's bound to be something in here that you'd like. I mean, particularly I played chess a lot on here, and they also had the card game War, so I thought that was pretty fun. So I think that this is a nice one to check out if there's really nothing else to really play, or if you have some family and want to have a quick party game that basically everyone could understand the rules of. This one's a good one to check out. Here we have the collection of Mana. This is another really good collection of games. And this one's made by Square Enix specifically. Having a lot of compilation games on the Switch is, I like that just because of the fact it allows you to play a lot more titles on here. Going into another one, we have the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. I think it's fairly basic. You know, you have the 3 Crash games on here, like the first 3. Of course, they have Crash 4, but I haven't gotten that one yet. And of course, I also got the Crash Team Racing, as I've been obsessed with trying to get a bunch of different like Mario Kart clones. And I mean, while I know it's not a clone of Mario Kart, it's basically is like a Mario Kart type game in that kart genre. And so I've been trying to collect the different ones from different games that's not Mario. So this one was another fantastic one, and I actually own the original one on PlayStation 1. We have Dead by Daylight. Now, the Switch version in particular is not the greatest, but this is another like cool horror game if you really like, you know, your classic horror movies. This kind of takes that concept and puts it into a video game form, so I thought this was pretty nice. The Switch version is not the greatest port on the face of the planet, but you know, it is a portable version of the game, and it does the job. And here we have Death End Quest 2, and I mean, you know, I simply got it just because the cover looked really interesting and cool. I really like the different colors you have in the back here, this kind of dark, spooky vibe with it. I haven't tried it out yet, but I there are a lot of games where I just buy based off of how cool the cover is, and I thought, like, I appreciate good art when I see it. And here we have Destroy All Humans. I have the original one from back in the day, and I just bought this because of the nostalgia kick in it, and I really do think this is an awesome game to pick up for Switch whenever you get the chance to. Here we have the Aladdin and Lion King bundle. Now, you know, they have released an updated one with Jungle Book, but I bought this before that came out, so I was a little annoyed with that, but I don't know if I'll ever get that one, or at least not anytime soon. But you know, that it's just one of those games that I liked the originals here. I actually have the original Aladdin. I gotta find the Lion King, but I was a little annoyed that they had released another version of this with the exact same games, but with Jungle Book, and I would have liked to have had that one instead of this one, but you know, it is what it is. On the list, we have Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, another rhythm game specifically in the Kingdom Hearts series. This one I'm not the greatest fan of, or it's just probably because I'm really bad at it, but I mean, the music in Kingdom Hearts is just incredible, and I had to get it. Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, and I always had friends who played this and enjoyed it and thought it was great, and I'm a little too scared to play it. Like, I'll start it and just kind of like not want to play the rest. I mean, look, call me the biggest wuss on the face of the planet, but I am, and I'm just not like, I don't take scary well. I'm pretty allergic to that, but I do think the inside contents of the game is pretty cool, like the little physical bonus things that you got. I'm pretty sure I've shown this in a video before, but I mean, love when games do that, specifically on the Switch. I think it's just more common, and it's just also nice. You have Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, another great game, you know, part of the many games that they ported from the Wii U to the Switch, and while a lot of people found that very annoying, especially since you had to pay full price for them again, I do enjoy having the Switch version, because not only, again, is it more portable, but now it's got a chance to actually do well because it's on a better system. And Donkey Kong Country is no exception. I mean, this is always a classic, and I think it's a great game to check out. We have the Doom Classics. Now, you could argue if this is a waste of money or not. I mean, it's just Doom 1, 2, and 3, and I'm pretty sure they actually have like a much more accessible version of this with the original Doom included. But, I mean, this was a limited run games version, and it came with this really cool collector's edition, which I've also made a video on. Check that out. But I really like the case for it. I think it's super nice. Comes with this collector card and manual, so I mean, why not? So, and it also has, I think, it has a reversible cover. I don't know if you can see it right there, but I just think it's a cool little thing, and it came with a steelbook. So I mean, I don't really regret my decision of buying it. It's just probably not something everyone would buy. But moving on to the next set of games, I'm just gonna kind of pull them out all at once because these are all soccer games. This one in particular I left sealed because it's soccer, it doesn't matter. But I mean, these ones I all got pre-owned, and I mean, this was the only one I really play like legitly. This is the only one that's not Legacy Edition, I'm pretty sure. I don't have 19, that's the only one I'm missing, but you know how the Legacy Edition of these things are, bad. But I thought FIFA 18 actually was pretty decently done on the Switch. It was just annoying that each and every other one of them was just treated like a whatever BS one. And then here we have Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. I mean, I don't think there's much I could say about this. It's just an all-time classic, and I think if you have not tried Skyrim at this point, the Switch version, I feel like while it might not be the most definitive edition, I think it's one of the better versions because of again, just the simple fact that you could play this on the go. And I mean, I just think that factor alone just makes it worth more, like the Switch version worth more in my opinion. Here we have Family Feud. Just one of those quick, like, fun games that, again, you could play with the family. It's a very easy to understand concept. It's Family Feud. If you've never seen Family Feud, then I mean, I think you're missing out on a fun time. But I mean, yeah, while it's probably not every hardcore collector's like favorite thing in the world, I think it's a nice game to play with family. Here you have Fire Emblem 3 Houses and Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. I wanted to group these together because, you know, they're basically part of the same series, although different games. Of course, there's the Warriors games, like Dynasty Warrior and things like that, and this is like the actual Fire Emblem games that we know, and I thought this was really fantastic, and I can't wait to get into this a little bit. I just haven't had the time to really try it out, because there's just always so many games, you know, to check out that sometimes some of the stuff gets put in the backlog for a little too long, so hopefully at some point. But this is a great game. I think you should highly check it out. And then here we have Five Nights at Freddy's. I never really got into the series when it first came out, and I just own it because this has basically most of the ones that came out. I think the only other one that this doesn't include is the newest one, the Security Breach game. But I mean, it has the original 4, and then it says plus it has sister location. So I mean, I mainly just played the first one. And while I'm not the biggest fan of horror games, and again, I don't take scary very well, I think it's just kind of like it brings me back to my high school days where I was just like, things were simpler, and it was fun to make fun of this game, and so it's just kind of like a meme that I own it. Here we have Game Builder Garage, and I thought, wow, this is kind of funny to have on the Switch. Now, mine's not open because I kind of just use my brother's because he owns it and he doesn't really touch it too much. So, I mean, I play his every now and then. But this is a fun game to try out. It's not even really a game more so because you're building games yourself, but I thought it was fun to actually have and own because I've always wanted to make my own games, and this is kind of like a small way of kind of accomplishing that little nugget right there. Part is Ghostbusters, a video game remastered. This was a fantastic time, and if you're a big fan of Ghostbusters, like, this is the game you should play on the Switch, especially since it has the original actors voicing their characters from the movie. So I think that's honestly right there alone is worth buying, in my opinion. And it's just not a bad game, especially since we live in a day and age where a lot of different movie tie-in games are pretty bad. Well, it's not based on a specific movie in particular. It's just, games based off of a movie franchise, just don't tend to do too hot. But this one proves that wrong. It has the original actors voicing their characters from the movie, so I think that's honestly right there alone is worth buying, in my opinion. And it's just not a bad game, especially since we live in a day and age where a lot of different movie tie-in games are pretty bad. Well, it's not based on a specific movie in particular. It's just, games based off of a movie franchise, just don't tend to do too hot. But this one proves that wrong. Next up, we have GTA Trilogy, the Definitive Edition. I got this one because, obviously, there's only ever been, besides this one, 2 other GTA games on Nintendo systems, one being Chinatown on the DS, and the other being GTA 2 on the Game Boy Advance. And so having this being like, hey, I own a GTA game on the Nintendo Switch is basically the only reason why I got this particular version. Otherwise, not the greatest version of these games, particularly the Switch version of the Definitive Edition is just kind of like, yikes, it's not very good. House of the Dead Remake, it's a very classic Sega title, and one that I think is a lot of fun, especially if you're nostalgic for the old school Sega days. This is another great pickup right there. Here we have Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. This is the prequel to a game that we'll get to later on, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but not into the fullest extent. There is a bit of a twist in there, which I won't spoil for you guys, but this is a really cool way to see what happened before the time of the time and events of Breath of the Wild. And so this is a really cool game in the Hyrule, in the Warriors series. We got Into the Dead 2, which, funny enough, Into the Dead's a mobile game, and they made one for the Switch. I think it's just really a really fun game on phone, and I basically only bought this just to see how it would play on an actual console. It's an actual legit console version, and so I was just curious to see if it played even the same at all. Here's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R. Battle. It's a fighting game. It's a JoJo fighting game. It's pretty cool. I was interested in it just basically because of the fact that the cover's really cool. I think that game covers that have basically very nice artwork, specifically an anime style artwork, just really call to me. I don't know why I like buying those kinds of games with that kind of cover. I appreciate good art, and so whether the game is good or not, bad or whatever, doesn't matter. I mean, JoJo's always been a kind of interesting anime to watch, and so while I wasn't the biggest fan of JoJo, I think the art style is very cool and neat, and I think it's a good game to try out. And if you like fighting games, I mean, I'm a big fan of fighting games, and I doubt that it's going to be anything bad as far as fighting games are concerned, but I really just picked it out because I really thought the cover and art was just really cool. Just Dance 2022. I didn't even bother getting the rest of the other ones. I was going to at some point, but I never did. And I mean, it's Just Dance. I think it's kind of self-explanatory. I don't have to get too in depth with it. Kirby the Forgotten Land, another fantastic game in the Kirby series. It's one that is really interesting because it's the first game in the Kirby series to be in a 3D environment and not be strictly 2D. And I thought that was a really nice change of pace for the Kirby series. Now, getting into quite possibly, I would think, my opinion, the best Switch game on the Nintendo Switch, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This is one of the first Zelda games that I have beaten, and I just spent so much time into this game, and quite possibly it's one of my top 5 games of all time for the Nintendo Switch. And it's just a beauty to behold. I mean, it looks amazing, it feels amazing, and it's very simple. All it is just you beat Ganon. Like, the rest of it's up to you, and it's not like a very complicated game to get into, which is one of the games I really like. When a game is very simple, doesn't bog you down with a lot of details, and it's just easy to pick up and play, I love it. And this thing just deserves like all the credit. And it is also has won Game of the Year, which is also a very nice tidbit on, you know, the accolades that it's accumulated. We're gonna pull up the next two. These were both a port and a remake. Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, a remaster of the Game Boy version, and The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, one of the Zelda games on the Wii. And I gotta say, they play really good on the Switch, specifically this one, which is just nice. And this one's also just a really good remake, and I very much like these both. Here is Lego Brawls, and this is a Lego fighting game. I talked about this a little bit in my video game pickup series, and I mean, the only reason why I bought it was because it was just too goofy not to. I'm a big fan of Lego games, and while I haven't opened it and tried it out yet, it is just one. Even if I never open this thing, it was just kind of a meme buy, if that makes sense. I just decided to just get it because why the hell not? And it's just really funny concept to me. Here is another Lego game. We're just gonna again combine these two: Lego Harry Potter Collection and the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. This I actually play on PlayStation because I got the deluxe edition. These two Lego games, I mean, this is just an all-time classic. I played this originally on the 360, and this is just oh so nice to be able to play it and just have it portably to go. I just love that. Better than the DS version, I'll tell you that much. And this one is just a sight to behold. I mean, it's super pretty on PlayStation 5, and whenever I do decide to open this one and try to 100% this one in particular, it would be nice to really just, again, have a portable version, because that's a big thing with me, is having a portable version of my favorite games of all time. Of Live Alive, this is a Square Enix game published by Nintendo, and I thought it looks really good. You know, I've seen trailers of it. It's part of my backlog, so I haven't tried it yet, but you know, it's one of the games I do plan on playing at some point. Another fantastic game on the Switch, Luigi's Mansion 3. A really just great game. Like, the Luigi's Mansion series has always been very cool to me. I just love the idea of Luigi having his own game franchise. And while, you know, the second one wasn't the greatest, like this really kind of recaptures the magic of the original one. And I just think it's an all-time must-buy for Nintendo Switch fans. We have Maneater. This is a quite funny RPG about a shark, and basically, like the back of the box says, it's a shark PG. Like, Maneater's just it's not the most in-depth thing, but it's a very like campy parody kind of like Shark Week TV show where you play as a shark. It's not like the most, you know, lighting the world on fire game, but it's just plain fun, just stupid fun, and I think it's great. Up in the collection is Mario and Sonic the Olympic Games. Always a fun time. Basically a bunch of sports games as mini games featuring the Mario and Sonic cast, and I always thought these were fun. One up is, you know, let's just have these all together here, because these are just all the different Mario themed games here. Specifically, yep, these are all of them here. We got Mario Golf, Mario Kart, which I gotta say is one of the best Mario Karts we've had in a while. And then we have Mario Party Superstars, which is just a very good homage to all the different Mario parties that we've had over the years, specifically the ones on N64 and GameCube. Just really good return to form. Mario Strikers, which is a cool soccer game, although, you know, isn't the best. I still think it's okay. And Mario Tennis Aces, which, you know, it's a tennis game with Mario characters. That's really all I gotta say about that. And we have Mary Skelter Finale. Want to make sure I pronounce this right. Like with the other ones like this before, really just liked the cover and the artwork on it, especially that nice background with the blood red kind of thing going on in the back. it just looks really cool. Next here in the pile is the Mega Man Legacy Collection Part 1 and 2, which, yeah, I love my Mega Man games, and just having them all here on the Switch, I thought this was really good set of games right here. It was a really nice version of the collection, which we've gotten plenty of over the years. Plus, Mega Man 11, just phenomenal. And then we also have Mega Man X Collection. The only one I'm missing is the Mega Man Zero games. And so that's basically it with that. Another great title, Metroid Dread. Something that was long overdue because of the fact that we haven't had a Metroid, like a 2D Metroid game, in so long. But another fantastic buy if you're a really huge Metroid fan. Here we have the Minecraft game, specifically Minecraft itself on the Switch, which it's Minecraft. I don't think I have to explain that too much. But Minecraft Dungeons is also another really cool side game. Unlike Minecraft Story Mode, which was kind of cringe a bit, like this was actually quite fun. Here we have the MLB The Show. And I think I've explained this in the original video that I showed this on, but the only reason why I bought MLB The Show 22 specifically on the Switch is because of this guy right here, PlayStation Studios on a Nintendo Switch card. That's really all I gotta say about it. I mean, it's just kind of for real. If you know this history between Sony and Nintendo, that's basically explains my whole purchase on that right here. You have NBA 2K18. Didn't bother to do what I did with FIFA and buy the rest of them. This is the 18 year was the year where I just bought a bunch of the sports games, and so I wanted to get all the ones that were available on Switch, and so this is an okay basketball game. It's fine. It's 2K. New Pokemon Snap. I loved the original, and while I don't have like my old copy on me, new Pokemon Snap is so much fun. It is so much fun to me, and it's just really just taking pictures of Pokemon. It's not, again, a very in-depth thing, but I just like taking pictures of Pokemon, I guess. Their new game is New Mario Brothers U Deluxe, which isn't very new at all, but it's just a really cool 2D Mario game, and I thought it was an okay time. And the next game here, Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl, which, what the name suggests, features a bunch of Nickelodeon characters. And I think this is the first time since the PlayStation All-Stars, battle thing, that we had something that competed with Smash Brothers. And I think it's kind of funny how this thing was really hyped up, and I mean, it's still something that people play regularly, but I think it's got a bit to go before it could really like challenge Smash Brothers. Otherwise, this is a very fun game, and if you're a big fan of Nickelodeon like myself, I was a Nickelodeon kid growing up, this is your game. And here we have Nintendo Switch Sports, which is another just fantastic return to form. Like with Luigi's Mansion 3, the Nintendo, like with Wii Sports, it was just such a good game, and I don't think the other two, Wii Sports Resort and Wii Sports Club, really captured the original magic. But this one comes pretty close. And while I'm a little annoyed that they don't have things like baseball and like actual boxing instead of the sword fighting thing, the games that the sports that they do have here are still very good, and they feel very good, and it's still a lot of fun to play with friends and family. You have No Man's Sky for the Nintendo Switch. This is a game that's been out for a while, and I actually have on the other systems, but I really wanted to have like a portable version for it. And I bought this when it like first came out for the Nintendo Switch, which was not too long ago. And so I thought I was pretty excited about that. I have actually another Olympics game, the Tokyo 2020 Olympics game, the official video game for the Olympics. And it doesn't take itself too seriously, as you could see with the astronaut on the cover and this cowboy playing tennis. I mean, it's very goofy, but still it's fun. It's still made by Sega, and so it's a lot of the same stuff, but I thought it was okay. Also, we have Amori. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but I think like I explained in the last video that I again showed this on, I really just like the cover on it. And as you guys probably know, and I've already said in this video, I'm a drawer. I really like drawing, and so seeing stuff like this just appeals to that artistic nature in me. Pac-Man Museum Plus. I also bought this on the Xbox One. I've been playing it non-stop, and it's just again another instance where I wanted to have a portable version of it. Paper Mario and the Origami King, while not the best Paper Mario game, I think this is okay. I think it's not too bad. I thought it was pretty okay experience, especially when you were able to recruit this little guy on your team. I mean, it's really sad what happens to him, man. It's insane. And the last two in this pile here, the Persona games. And I mean, I don't think I have to repeat what I've said in previous videos, how I feel about Persona, the series itself. I mean, like, this one in particular was just so good to me, and it was like the first game I ever played on it, and I'm still actually trying to get through the game and 100% it on the Switch, because I've done it so many times on the PlayStation, and so I'm just been playing it non-stop since it came out, and I'm just really happy that we have a version of it on the Switch. And of course, this being the direct sequel, and it's actually using the original Persona ending, not Persona 5 ending, not the Royal version, which I think is great, because in my personal opinion, the regular ending beats the Royal ending. That's my official stance on it. The first ending for Persona 5 is better than the Royal one. No questions asked. I will not change my opinion on that. I think next up is basically just all the Pokemon games. So let's just grab these guys. I've showed these off already, so I don't think I really need to get too far in depth with it. But these are just all the Pokemon games: Pikachu, Eevee, Sword, Shield, Diamond, Pearl, Legends Arceus, which is just a fantastic, just a breath of fresh air for Pokemon. And about Scarlet and Violet, very buggy, these things, very, it's one of those instances where there's a good game there. It's great, but it bugs out on me like non-stop. I just wish so badly that I just beg it, please let me play the game, and I keep crashing. Starting on this third and final pile of games here, we're actually going to start with a game that doesn't officially have a physical copy. This is just a custom cover because I really adore the Portal games, and I really just wanted to have a custom cover done for Portal 1 and 2. Like, I was very disappointed when we didn't get this as a physical game, but I bought this off eBay, so I mean, this is just fantastic. I wanted to show it off. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. A huge fan of Power Rangers, and this is another game where it's a fighting game, but it's just with Power Rangers, and I've been a fan since I was like 4 years old, so it's just one of those little bit of nostalgia that I got. And of course, it has Lord Draken on it. Fantastic. I very much adored this game. There's another version of it that I gotta get, but I just never got around to it because they're kind of the same, but it's what it is. I just really like this. Ring Fit Adventure. It's actually got a pretty unique case in comparison to the other Switch games, and also another game that doesn't have any kind of back info whatsoever, because it's actually on the main box. Same thing with like the Nintendo Switch Sports. This is kind of similar to that, but a very interesting game in my collection. We got Rocket League. This is one of the few Switch covers that have like this really nice case with it that has this effect going on, this kind of rainbowy metallic effect with like raised images popping off of the case itself, and that's kind of why I got this thing. Otherwise, the game itself, I'm pretty sure, is free now, so it'd be kind of a waste of money, but I mean the case is still very cool. You got Saints Row the Third, the full package, and while I know Saints Row fans are very divided on this, it's either you really like this game or you really hate this game and like the first two better. I'm in the camp that likes this game, and I beat it like within the day, so I mean, it's not the longest or most in-depth story, like it's not like GTA 5, but it's really good though. I think it's a pretty good game. Both Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne, the remastered version, and then we have Shin Megami Tensei 5. These are both again really good Atlas games, and games this is where the Persona series spawned from, was from SMT, and so I mean, you can even see it in the early Persona games that have SMT, and these are just fantastic games. This one specifically from the PS2, and this is one of those ones where even though I had the original and still kind of prefer the original, like I had to open it and play it up anyway. I just love this game, and this one I actually got both this and the Steelbook, just like with Persona, so I mean, it's just a fantastic games. Civilization 6. I really like the Civ games, my favorite being Civilization Revolution, because yes, not the greatest at these. I'm still not very good at this one in particular, but just very much like this one. The next one we have here is Sniper Elite V2 Remastered. really cool World War II game. In particular, just the fact that you end up taking out an enemy, it goes into X-ray mode, and it's just really graphic. But it's just one of those features that makes this game very unique and stand out. We have Snipper Clips, which early on this was a very popular title for the Nintendo Switch, but I find it now that whenever I go to like a Best Buy, GameStop, Target, wherever, never see this game in stock. I just never see it. And if you ever do find it, I highly suggest picking it up. I doubt it's a rare game, but it's just one of those things like ARMS, like 1-2 Switch, that I just don't think caught on super well. Although this it definitely got better received compared to the other two. And here's another game that I adore with a passion, Sonic Mania Plus. I mean, this being like the physical version, because at first it was only digital, and they had this really cool collector's edition with Sonic standing on a Genesis, and you actually had a cartridge that had a Sonic ring in it, which was really cool. But this is a fantastic return to form to the classic 2D Sonic, and it's just really nice. If you're a big Sonic fan, I suggest picking it up. You have Space Invaders Forever, another really cool blast from the past, and I had done a video on this all on its own, and I think it was the very last video game showcase that I've ever did. But if you guys missed it and want me to bring it back, just let me know. We have both Splatoon 2 and 3, and I think specifically Splatoon 2 really catapulted the Switch, because these were games that were like mainly for the most part online multiplayer with a really cool story mode. You normally hear Nintendo and online, it's usually never really good, but these do fantastic. And an original IP, which already has 3 games in the series now, but proves that, hey, Nintendo could still make some new stuff and it being good. Here we have SpongeBob Battle for the Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. I tend to notice there's so many remasters and ports on the Switch specifically, and I mean, I'm all for it, because again, of how unique the Switch is. This is just really awesome to me, because I have the original on GameCube, and it's just one of those things that I adore, both the TV show and this game. And so it's, while probably not the best on Switch, I still bought it day one. I didn't care. And here we have the companion title to Crash, Spyro Reignited Trilogy. This is again games that I've fully completed, got 100% on everything, got all the collectibles and stuff, and I just adore these 3 games. Here we have Starlink Battle for Atlas. Now, this is a game that it's not very popular or well known. In fact, this was one of the last Toys to Life series that I think ever came out, specifically for the Switch. And I find it very hard to find at times. And I'm sure you can find it on eBay, but I really am scared of how much those things are on eBay, specifically the game itself, because I figured the figures themselves are actually not worth anything. But still, with this, we also have Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection, and I gotta say, this is probably one of the most like crazy anniversary collections that Street Fighter has ever done, specifically because of just the sheer amount of Street Fighters there are, at least the ones I have. And I mean, I've never actually ever seen the original Street Fighter ever, so this is like the first time I ever got to experience that, and quite a few of these other ones. Of course, most part, I've played a lot of the Street Fighter 2 games, and so this is just a fantastic series. Especially if you love Street Fighter, this is a great pickup. Another great pickup is Stubbs the Zombie Rebel Without a Pulse. This was originally an Xbox exclusive, and this is specifically back in the day, the original Xbox. And while this isn't like a remaster, it's more so a port, because it doesn't look really anything different compared to the original other than its HD. And this is just a very fun, very goofy, very parody game, and it's just one of those things that it's just stupid, like have a good time, fun, and I love it. Here we have Super Mario 3D All-Stars. I kind of laugh at this game because everyone thought that this game was going to be really rare, and to a certain extent it is, because it's not as easy as picking this up like some of the other games I mentioned on this list at like a GameStop or Best Buy or whatever. But I tend to notice that you do see quite a bit of the pre-owned copies floating around, and these don't command very high prices. Although this was one of those anniversary games that Nintendo did, it was one that they did limited quantities for, so everyone thought that this thing was going to be super hard to find and valuable. But also the fact that people were not big fans of these specific versions of the game, that they used for this collection. But I still think, regardless of whether or not you think that these versions are superior or not or whatever, I think the games themselves are really good, and having them portable on the Switch is just, I think it's just great. We also have Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, this part being very new and also just really cool addition to this game. And I mean, I played the original on the Wii U, and it's just a fantastic game for the Mario series. In fact, it takes a concept of having a 3D Mario game with the kind of rules of the 2D games, and I think it just mashes together very well. And if you are a big fan of Mario games and like making your own 2D levels, Super Mario Maker 2 is a very fun and fantastic game to try out. Now, I do prefer the original one over this, and it's kind of funny because I don't know if you kept up with my community tab, you know that I got the Super Mario Maker 2DS, which I thought was really fun and cool looking DS, although not one of my favorite models of the DS, but still. And I mean, while the Switch version is just as bit as good, and it's got a lot of cool features that the original one didn't, I just have a tad bit more just kind of liking towards the original version. Up next, I kind of gotta say this, if not number one like Legend of Zelda, it could easily be number two. The Super Mario Odyssey, like Zelda and Mario Odyssey, I feel like could swap places with each other as far as the number 1 and 2 best Nintendo games on the platform. These are just an amazing Mario game, and it pays heavy homage to Mario's history, and it's one of the few games on here where I really just tried to get everything, especially the outfits. The outfits are just fantastic. Here we have Super Mario Party. This is actually the first Mario Party, like the main one for the Switch, and unlike the other one, it's not as good, but I still think it gets the job done. It's a fairly okay experience. This game, in particular, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, is possibly one of the ones I played the most on the Switch and the ones I have the most hours on, because it is just non-stop fun with both friends and family, mainly friends, especially if you wanted to show how much better you are at the game than them. But while I'm complete garbage at it, it's a lot of fun trying to master and learn new moves and try to get that much more better, so that when you do verse your friends, you can just kick their butt a bit. We have this Rhythm Festival game that I still cannot pronounce the name of. I showed it recently in a recent video, so I'm not going to get too far in depth with it. I got it just because I do really like rhythm games, and I just really adore this cover. There's just so much going on in it, and lots of good colors and things like that, and it's just awesome. We have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga Collection. This is a very fantastic collection, again, featuring turtle games, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games, ranging from all sorts of systems and genres going through their past. And I mean, I already done another video on this. There's quite a few of these Switch games I've done videos on already, but this is another one where I think it's very good and a must-buy for the Switch. We have a weird one. Tokyo Mirage Sessions. It's a kind of a mix of Fire Emblem meets SMT, and it is published by Nintendo, and it's one that was on the Wii U originally, got a port on here, that's why hence the Encore thing, and it was one of those games that I just had to pick up because I was a big fan of the Atlas games, and so seeing like a SMT Fire Emblem crossover was just kind of cool. After playing it, I'm not like the greatest fan of it, but still I think it's a fairly unique game and one worth checking out. Here we have another Street Fighter. In fact, this is one of the very first games I bought on the Switch, Ultra Street Fighter 2: The Final Challengers. And I think it's funny because I think this is hopefully the final Street Fighter 2 we would ever get. I just think it's funny how they to this day still make Street Fighter 2 games when they've already moved on from that number, but I thought it was fun. Now Unravel 2, another just kind of fun, unique game that it's a platformer with yarn characters, and I think it fits well with the Switch, and I think it's also a pretty good game in my opinion. And here we have Waku Waku Sweets. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but I just thought the cover was cool. Again, I think it is just fun with the different art and stuff like that. It kind of reminds me of an anime Cooking Mama. Wonderful 101, fantastic game on the Wii U, and I had to buy it for Switch just because it's just another really unique game that you don't really see all too much. And I think, while I do think it plays better on the Wii U, I think the Switch version is actually pretty good as well. Quite possibly one of the worst games on the Switch, WWE 2K18. One of the rare ones that do have, like the Rocket League one, like a special cover, but this is possibly the worst port to have ever graced the Nintendo Switch. And it's a shame because it's probably my favorite sports series of all time. Like, I'm a big fan of wrestling. WWE is like one of my third most favorite hobbies to do. WWE is just one of those things that, like, I really like the actual games as well. Like No Mercy, as you can see there, I got some of them right there in the background. But the 2K series was also ones that I really did enjoy, and 2K18 I actually really liked. On the Xbox One, I had like that big collector's edition with John Cena. Having a portable edition was just something I've been dreaming about for so long, especially since the closest thing I got into it was the PSP versions of SmackDown vs. Raw, and this really crushed me here. Very disappointed. Did get another WWE game, but it was not the 2K series really. It was the Battleground series, and it was just like, I really have nothing to say about these. The Zombie Army Trilogy, really love zombie games, and this is based off of the Sniper Elite series, and so this involves the first three, and here we have the fourth one in the series. I actually have the PC version where you're actually able to play as Left 4 Dead characters, which I thought was really awesome, and I just wanted to have it on the Switch. That is up to Z, A through Z of my Nintendo Switch games, and now we're just gonna have them all together. All right, guys, that'll be it for today's video. Please let me know what you guys think. What is your favorite Switch game of all time? What would be your ultimate buying guide for the Nintendo Switch? And as always, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because it's the best way to support me if you enjoy my content. That'll be Station X, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.